Hello, this is Sakamoto 321 and this is my Chivalry Medieval Warfare Weapon Guide. In this part, we'll be taking a look at the Flanged Mace as the first mace unlocked for the Man-at-Arms class. A quick disclaimer about this video: the stats for the weapon are slightly altered from the patch, however, changes are hardly noticeable. Because of this, the weapon stats for the LMB attack slide are slightly lower than they are written, due to the fact that I was unable to find an updated Chivalry Medieval Warfare damage chart. I would just have to guess for the thing. There's no reason to make an entire slide, however, for a discrepancy of 1 damage. With that out of the way, let's get going. The mace first saw its use in ancient Mesopotamia when a ball of metal was placed on a shaft of wood to replace the unwieldy club for a more solid business end. Flanges, which are little more than grooves or knobs, were added to the mace to provide more effectiveness against heavily armored opponents during the Middle Ages. It was often carried by knights as a backup to their longsword, and can be done in chivalry itself. Throughout history, the mace can be seen as a signification of power, and is thusly used still in modern military, but only for ceremonial possessions to represent power. The Flanged Mace does blunt damage, so a consistent amount of damage is done across all classes. However, given the mace's decent base damage, the Flanged Mace ended up with consistent moderate damage to all classes. The LMB attack, like all attack types with the Flanged Mace, deals blunt damage. Pre-patch, the base was 65 damage. Post-patch, the damage total is now 64. Not a huge decrease. Just know that numbers you see are slightly askew, and the actual damage is a tad lower than the ones you see. Against the archer, you'll deal 65 damage to the head, 52 to the body, and 42 to the legs. Not the strongest, but considerable. Against the Man-at-Arms, you'll deal 61 damage to the head, 49 to the body, and 39 to the legs. This is actually the biggest drop-off in damage. The heavily armored classes are pretty weak to the Flanged Mace, with 57 damage done to the head of the Vanguard, 46 to the body, and 36 to the legs. Against the Knight, you'll deal 49 damage to the head, 39 to the body, and 31 to the legs. This is not a large drop-off, and a good amount of damage done to a Knight. The mouse wheel down attack has identical damage to the swing pre-patch, so the same damage mentioned earlier is done. Post-patch, the numbers for the mouse wheel down attack remain the same, and the LMB attack is affected. The mouse wheel up attack, however, is nearly useless, as the Flanged Mace is not suited for stabbing. Against the archer, you'll deal 30 damage to the head, 24 to the body, and 19 to the legs. When put up against the Men-at-Arms, you'll deal only 28 damage to the head, 23 to the body, and 18 to the legs. Against the Vanguard, you will deal a mere 26 damage to the head, 21 to the body, and 17 to the legs. It is the Knight that has the greatest resistance to the mouse wheel up attack, as expected, with only 23 damage done to the head, 18 to the body, and 14 done to the legs. The stab is an utterly useless endeavor, therefore the mouse wheel down and LMB attacks will be the main ones that you will use. The swing for multiple opponents and the overhead for closer engagements with friendly allies around. For our loadout, we're going to be taking a lightweight assaulter approach. Class setup will allow you to get into the front of battle quickly, get to the flanks of your enemy ranks, and use your equipment to its greatest usage. Also, it's great for clearing out objectives, getting to the objective first. The primary slot will be held by the Flanged Mace. In the secondary slot, the use of the broad dagger will allow for a quick switch if necessary. However, given the mace's effective range, the secondary is not pivotal to the build. In the special slot, the oil pot will allow you to soften up charging enemies before finishing them off with the Flanged Mace. We forgo a shield in this build to stay mobile while engaging in combat. For this reason, you will be low on the defensive side. Dodge is affected by the patch, however, is still an effective tool if used correctly, and should still be used to your advantage, despite some people thinking it is now useless. Remain mobile and use the oil to soften your enemies before finishing them off with a quick blow from the mace. If an enemy should slip through your hot oil, meet them immediately and put a mace in their face.